Steve is a pigeon, you'll remember from last year. He helped Santa pull his sleigh and replaced a hurt reindeer. He flew around the world to make sure each Christmas tree had presents underneath it to fill each child with glee. Back then, Steve couldn't wait to tell Bob, his best friend, all about his Christmas adventure that he'd hope would never quite end. And then, as they were both chatting on that fence that Steve and Bob loved, they heard little bells jingling, and a reindeer floated down from above. He said, "Steve, I'm so glad I found you. Please come, we need your help quick. We have no one to deliver the presents, 'cause Santa is terribly sick." So Steve looked at Bob, and Bob looked at Steve. They couldn't quite believe what they'd heard, that a flying reindeer was talking to them, leaving Christmas down to one little bird. So Steve said, "How can I deliver presents? I'm just one small little bird." Then Bob chirped up, "I'll join you. I've listened to every word that you've told me since last Christmas. I think together we can. We'll work as a team to help Santa." So there and then they hatched out a plan. The reindeer knew where to go, and the pigeons lifted the sack and shot down each chimney with ease, to make sure each Jill, Claire and Jack had a smile on Christmas Day morning, even though poor Santa was ill. And Bob and Steve worked together. They even had stockings to fill. The night seemed to go on forever, but Bob and Steve loved every bit, with Donna, Cupid and Blitzen, and of course not forgetting Comet. Bob held the sack, Steve took out gifts, and before long their job was done, and they settled back into the sleigh. It had been a whole night of fun. They returned to the North Pole, where they saw Santa tucked up in bed. He did look ever so poorly, with a cold flannel laid on his head. He said, "Thank you, lads, you are heroes. I'm actually feeling much better, knowing you've delivered the presents that each child wrote about in their letter. Just think, tomorrow morning, when children wake and open their toys, it's not me it'll all be down to. It will be with thanks to you boys." So Steve and Bob flew home very pleased, and stopped to look through a window to see some children happily opening their presents with their family. Steve and Bob hugged each other and smiled, saying, "Pigeons saved Christmas once again," and they flew off into the sky, where a message read, "Well done, pigeons, 10 out of 10.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing over the plains, and the mountains in reply